Hi, everybody. In this video, we're going to talk specifically about comments in Java. We've been using comments throughout our code, throughout this course so far, but we haven't really slowed down to talk about comments and why we use them and what type of comments we can make. So I'm going to go to an old program we did a couple classes ago called BMI, which stands for Body Mass Index. And if you remember, this program asks the user to enter their weight in kilograms and then their height in meters. And then we do a simple calculation and we then display their body mass index in kilograms per meter squared. And you'll notice a few of these lines are written in gray when you open this program in BlueJ. And they often start with 2 forward slashes. So these are going to be the comments in your program. You can have no comments at all. I could remove all of these gray lines and the program would still work fine. So comments are really just used to explain the program to other people who are looking at our code and like a teacher or another programmer. And often, I believe we said before, often programmers will put their name at the top of the program and perhaps the date. Halloween today. So again, you don't have to put this at the top, but a lot of programmers, when they're writing formal pieces of code, will put this at the top. Okay, and then usually a description is nice, explaining the program. And then what you generally want to do is have a comment for every major step of the program. So you can see here, I have one comment for these 2 lines of code together that basically says, ask the user for their weight in kilograms. And then I have another comment here asking the user for their height in meters. So again, you don't have to have a comment for every single line of code saying create a variable and store the weight. Okay, so that's redundant and too much commenting is actually pretty bad. So we want to keep it simple and we want to make sure our code is nice and clear. I probably would add one more comment down here saying calculate and display the BMI. So that might be a good use of a comment right there. So again, these are called comments. It's also called documentation. So documenting your program. So you might hear that be used to describe comments. Where can you put comments? Okay, so you can put comments at the beginning or at the top of a program. You can, of course, put them inside your code. You might see some programmers add comments at the end of a line of code. So, this is the import statement. Again, I wouldn't necessarily have that line of code. It's a little too much detail. But you are allowed to write comments at the end of a line of code like this. So I'm going to get rid of that. Again, somebody might say this is the class header. But it's not really important to have that. So you can also comment in a different way. So if I have a long piece of if I have a long comment here, like I'm just going to edit this. So if you have multiple lines, and this program was developed by Mr. Morlag. Okay, so if you have a long paragraph at the top explaining your program, you don't actually have to have 2 forward slashes at the beginning of every single line. You can actually, just to speed up the process, you can put a forward slash and then a star, and then end with a star forward slash. So just reverse that. And you'll notice that all of this gets grayed out when you put that. So this is called multi-line commenting. And a lot of programmers enjoy using this if they have a large paragraph that they want to put in throughout their program and they don't want to put 2 forward slashes at the beginning of every single line. Okay, and then there is another type of commenting, and it's called Java Doc. Java Doc commenting. You don't need to know this style of commenting for this course. What I'll say for now is that it starts with a forward slash and then 2 stars, and then it ends with a star and a slash. and you'll notice that it appears blue. It's this fancy color in BlueJ. Again, you don't need to know this. This is used by professional programmers, and we don't need to understand this at this point. If you take the second course, the grade 12 level course, then we'll get a little deeper into Java.commenting. But I just want you to recognize that this exists, and if you're looking at somebody else's code from online, you might see this style of commenting, and we can have a chat about this a little bit later.